Hello and welcome back to the Cineskinny. It's the film podcast from the Skinny magazine, and everybody's here in a slightly different location in our fabulous office. We've got a bunch of broken furniture on the floor. It's not broken. I took it apart.
Why did you take it apart?
I had grand plans that I have not yet been able to follow through on. That voice, by the way, Anahit.
Hello.
Ellie Robertson.
Hello.
And Jamie Dunn.
Hiya.
We're all here to talk about da movies. This podcast was nominated for an award.
And if you could see us now.
Yeah. And over the course of the next 50 or so minutes, you'll find out just why. But yeah, we're going to talk about Hen, which is a film about a hen. We're going to talk about Tuner, which is a film about a man who tunes pianos. We're going to talk about Steven Spielberg, the man who just invented large parts of Western cinema. So it's going to be a fun one. But we're also going to talk about other things that we've been watching. We'll start that now with you, Anahit.
Me.
You also haven't been disassembling and then partially reassembling furniture.
No.
What films have you been watching instead?
What films have I been watching instead? I saw Alien for the first time.
Ooh.
For the first time? Oh my God.
Yeah, because I'm quite
you don't like
scared.
scary ones?
Yeah, I'm quite scared of things. So I had seen Aliens before with my first boyfriend when I was like 22, and I remember being fucking terrified. And then I had heard that Alien was like even scarier because it's an actual horror film. I didn't find it that scary. Well, I screamed out loud once, but it was when he did like the little jumpy thing. But I don't know if I've grown or if...
Was it the Xenomorph you were saying did the little jumpy thing? Like,
Yeah.
who did the little jumpy
Yeah,
thing?
you know when
When it
like
jumps out
the
of his stomach.
captain of the ship is like in the air ducts,
Yeah.
and then it kind of it's like a jump scare, and I was scared and jumped.
Okay, I thought it was a little bit like Small Bean Xenomorph. You're like, when he did his little jumpy thing.
It felt like
You know what he's like? Huh?
it was actually when the little, I know it's like not good because he obviously comes out of the guy's stomach, but when he's like the little tiny
He's
alien,
a cute
he
little
scuttles
baby.
around.
Also, you know, that's
Yeah.
the film that invented the term cat scare for like a fake out scare, because Jones the cat always turns out to be the one, because there's so many little
Yes.
scares
Yeah.
where it just turns out to be the cat.
It's just a fucking
So
cat.
people call
Yeah.
it a cat scare now because of
Yeah.
that.
I've never heard of the word cat scare.
I've heard it. It's the fake out, you know, like in a horror film. It happens all the time when you sort of notice it.
Yeah.
I had to think very, very seriously about whether I would rescue my cat if we were locked on an alien spaceship, because she really goes out of her way and she doesn't seem to have that much of a bond with the cat. You know, like she really puts herself at risk to rescue this cat.
A critic called Anna Belson wrote a really fun review of Alien from the point of view of Jones the cat, which is very entertaining.
Oh, I want to read that. Anyway, I liked it. I remember finding Aliens a lot more like haunting and fucked up, and still sort of have like weird dreams about it. Whereas this, I kind of was like, okay, yeah, I see. It was almost too scary. It was like one of those films where the worst thing that could ever happen, like, happens every single time. Like when the ship is malfunctioning, of course there's loads of steam and smoke and you can't see where you're going. Why would it do that? Like,
Yeah.
why is that? That doesn't seem right. So there were just like a lot of, I don't know, but I thought it was really good. I thought she was so sexy. I thought that was great. So I watched Alien. The other great important classic of our time that I watched for the first time was Step Up. I
Nice.
actually really liked that. I thought that was really fun. And then I finally watched Everybody to Kenmure Street, and I cried the whole way through. It was lovely.
Nice.
Yeah, it was good. I think that's it.
Nice. And now running the tap. Ellie.
Hi.
Films.
Yes.
They're very good. I like films. Let's talk about those. What films have you been watching?
I also went to go see Everybody Kenmure Street.
What did you think?
I really loved it. It was
Yeah.
very, very emotional. Although I expected to cry the whole way throughout, but I didn't. I teared up at some points. But the reaction that I had was much more of a like shaking with the kind of like power of it.
Yeah.
weirdly. Like it was incredibly transfixing. And I was with a pal who had never been in a cinema when everybody clapped at the end before, which obviously like we don't really do that in this country as much as they do in like America or whatever. But it makes sense if you're like seeing it in Glasgow, because also this was like a month and a half after it came out, and it's like still sold out at the G.O.A.T, almost sold out, huge crowd. So it's like there's every chance that one of these people is in the room with you because of the sense of community that the film kind of like presents. So it's like you'd want to applaud those people after seeing that.
Apparently it's the GFT's one of their most
It's
successful
like their
films ever.
second biggest
Yeah.
new release that they've
Isn't that
ever had.
crazy?
Yeah.
So loved it, fantastic. Something else that I watched is a friend came over with a DVD for something called Yes, Madam, which was like a 1985 Hong Kong action film starring a young Michelle Yeoh and another actor that I don't know called Cynthia Rothrock. And basically, like, they're cops, but they wear cute outfits and do kung fu against bad guys, and it's really cunty and fun. And they have a costume change every single scene. They will literally like be chasing a guy down the street, and then when they get him in the cop car, they're driving back to the station in new fun outfits. And then when they take him into the interrogation room, they have new fun outfits.
Oh my God.
It's all very like high-waisted, very like neon colors, shoulder pads, really fun.
What is it called?
It's called Yes, Madam. Apparently there was quite a few of these Michelle Yeoh, Cynthia Rothrock 80s action films. So I'm definitely going to be like looking into the other ones because that was an absolute blast.
Hong Kong action cinema is just incredible. It's also incredible the fact that like it was from a time and a place when health and safety didn't exist, and they would just kick a guy through a window.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be like let's do it in post. They would throw
They really would. You genuinely are like concerned for the extras and for the performers, whether or not it is like, I think Michelle Yeoh was doing a lot of her own stunts, but she's like doing a full scorpion kick, and it's like, damn. People, action films used to hit different.
It's like, well, they literally used to just hit them.
Yeah.
It's like when all those old Jackie Chan films, like Rumble in the Bronx and Police Story, and they would show at the end like the outtakes of Jackie Chan injuring himself by like jumping off buildings, and like, oh, that's a broken ankle. Like this isn't the bants that you think it is. We've lost something as we've progressed into a world of not trying to break the actors.
But he always seemed happy about it. I remember in the Rush Hour outtakes, even when he like fell into a wall, he seemed like pleased.
But that's like American injury.
Yeah, that's
like
true.
Hong 80s Hong Kong injury was like
different.
I've been thrown off the roof of a building, rather than just be like I've had to be near Brett Ratner for an hour and a half. Bazinga. Jamie, hello.
Hello.
What have you been watching? We're sat at a slightly awkward. Apologies for that stilted transition. We're sat at a slightly awkward angle from each other. We're still trying to work out the RGB lighting zone. Jamie, talk to me about films, please.
I haven't actually seen that many films recently because I've been away, but I have been watching Half Man, the new Richard Gadd thingy on BBC. Really compelling, similarly to Baby Reindeer, like a very compelling watch. This one's more about toxic masculinity. It follows a fucked up relationship between two teenage boys who are thrown together because their mothers like start dating and like start living together. One is Niall, who's like a timid, secretly gay guy who dreams of being a writer, and then another one's called Ruben, who's like really charismatic and confident, but also a psychopath. And it's like, yeah, it's just like how they create this kind of weird bond. Niall's actually initially terrified of him, but then he realizes that Ruben will beat up the bullies who have been like making his life misery at school, and they kind of become friends. And then a few other things happen as they grow up, and they grow up into adults. And Ruben is played by Richard Gadd, and Niall is played by Jamie Bell. Really like it. I think I prefer Richard Gadd though as a writer than an actor. Like I feel like he's probably the least convincing thing in the show. And I feel like he got away with it in Baby Reindeer because he's playing himself. But here he's playing this kind of hard man, and it feels like cosplay. I don't know. It's just like every time he's on screen, I just don't buy it. And especially he's up against Jamie Bell, who's such a good actor and is really good at this character, who has real kind of depth. He's like, sometimes you feel sorry for him. He's kind of pathetic. Other times you realise that actually he's quite manipulative himself, and he's using people. So really good show. I think Richard Gadd lets it down a bit. But I would say the first 3 episodes are great because actually it's mostly set in the past, and it's like younger actors who are both really good as well. So yeah, the first 3 episodes are great. The 4th episode is less good, but Jamie Bell makes up for it.
Nice. I'm sorry, I am going to move my microphone around slightly. I've moved my microphone around slightly, and now I'm going to ask you, Jamie, speaking of television, can we speak of television? Can we speak of...
We can speak of television if you want.
Well, I mean, I think it's... Fucking hell. Right, okay. I'm just going to go straight in. Jamie was the extra in a TV show when he was away last week.
Oh, yeah.
What?
I didn't know this.
Oh, yeah. I was playing a cop... Well...
What?
I've been playing a cop on a TV show called The Island.
What?
Yeah.
He's been playing a cop on
Is
a
that
TV
why you were
show called The
there?
Island.
Yeah, I'm an actor now.
Okay.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
It was a terrible experience. I hated it.
How did this happen?
Please.
This
Or just playing a
podcast was
cop.
nominated for an award. Jamie, continue.
Oh, it's pure nepotism. Like
Was Bjorn making...
Bjorn's producing it, and basically I went to visit him, in Lewis, and the plane flights are so expensive that I had to work out some way to pay for it. So I had to work. So I worked 2 days as an extra to make the money back.
Wow.
What did you hate about it?
It's quite a boring process to be an actor, and I don't want to get into but I
Jamie,
feel
do bear in mind that your microphone is on.
Yeah, your job is interviewing actors.
and this is your husband's production. This is what we call in the business a triple threat.
The hottest mic ever.
Yeah, maybe if I was at the star of the show, I'd enjoyed it better. But I feel like being an extra, you're not treated that well. So.
Who mistreated you?
I just wanted a bit more, a bit more of a character. I wanted a bit more direction. Like I wanted to know what my police officers' kind of motivations were.
Isn't that up to you to come up with that?
Yeah, I guess so, but I feel like I didn't have enough. You don't see the script or anything. You don't even know what the scene is. You turn up and you're like told stand there. Here's some police tape. Do something, and then I don't even know if I'm on screen. Like it's such a weird process. Because obviously the blocking's decided initially, and then they keep moving the camera. But I'm not actually sure if I'm on screen. So you have to kind of be in character all the time.
Wow.
And I'm like acting. I feel like a tit because. Am I on camera? Is this at any point to this? It's this very strange thing to be an extra and like a background player.
I cannot wait to see this.
Yes.
I'm so glad I got that out of
Jamie,
him.
you're gonna wind up on the poster. You're gonna be in like every shot.
I really hope that Jamie's in the trailer. That's my main.
I did have a little dream that the director would spot me and say, "My God, he's got something. Maybe we'll give him a couple of lines or like."
That didn't happen.
No,
Yeah.
nothing.
No.
He didn't
Just
even
think
speak to me.
you could be on
Yeah.
you could be on the Graham Norton show saying exactly what you said now, that it was shit and boring and you didn't like it.
Also, something just absolutely fantastic about saying like, oh, I don't like being on set. Maybe if I was the star of the show, I'd feel different. Yeah, maybe you would feel differently. Fucking hell, we're off to an absolute flyer today. Speaking of flyers, there's actually like a 45-second bit that was cut out there. Speaking of flyers, let's talk about Hen, a film about a chicken. So a chicken escapes from the farm and steps. Do chickens step?
Do chickens fly?
Good question.
Barely. Like a
Aren't they
little bit.
famously not flyers?
They can fly for a bit.
Oh, can they? Oh, that's
You can
nice.
glide maybe.
What bird is it that can't fly? You guys carry
Penguins.
on. No, there's like a farm bird. Hang on.
This intro is getting away from me.
Okay, sorry,
Turkeys.
carry on.
This
Turkeys.
podcast was nominated for an award.
We've not said what award.
I'll get to that later.
Okay.
A chicken escapes from the farm and steps into a modern Greece in the grip of human greed, people smuggling, the migrant crisis, and the general difficulties and trials of modern life. But they're just a chicken. What a world to live in. This is by Hungarian director Gregory Palfi, and it stars Ferry, Annette, Nora, Etty, Sandy, Enshi, Esther, and Eniko. They're all chickens. It's a literal bird's eye view. If I could remember which button was the drum roll on the roadcaster, I'd be cracking that right out. Ellie, that synopsis, bit of a strange one. Chickens, but also people smuggling. Bit of a strange pitch. Catch.
Sure. Yeah, this is, I don't know, an interesting premise for a film, and I was very here for it. And I think I was quite engaged to begin with. The real meat wall of the film is the editing, right? So, like, the earlier scenes I found the most impressive were the ones that, like, are just these little, like, episodic moments where the chicken escapes from this, like, battery farm, or when it gets chased by a fox across the road, or when it, like, wanders into the middle of a protest, or has like a weird showdown with a bird of prey. It's edited really well, and like it is able to kind of create a unique perspective, and in that short time you get this little taster of whatever the filmmaker is trying to kind of like reveal about us and our society, our industry, our politics, our traffic, how that all impacts the natural world around us. But then at a certain point the chicken gets to this farm with this family who are people smugglers and have like connections to organized crime, and from that point on, it just feels like the film is really dragged out. It really, really slows. I think that they have that strong perspective, and the use of it gets more and more weird, and just, I don't even know what they're trying to do with it. There's a point where, like, a chicken walks into a bedroom and a little girl is watching a documentary about dinosaurs, and the chicken kind of looks at it. And I don't really know, like, I get it. Dinosaurs evolved into chickens, and they don't rule the world anymore. We rule the world. But it's sort of like, I don't know, just... you know, shortly after that, it like looks longingly through a window as somebody makes an omelette, and it's kind of like, I get it, chickens have it rough. I appreciate that it's not like going straight for the misery porn. It's not like the end of Okja or whatever, where it's all about kind of like our food industry and like the concept of slaughter, and that can be like very, very, very bleak and visceral. And I kind of admired that they took a step away. They went a bit more offbeat with this idea, but I just found that like the strange use of the perspective created this kind of tone problem. They couldn't seem to decide whether or not they were humanizing the chicken and they want us to have fun and think it's cute and root for this character to win. Like, for an example there's this one scene where it's kept in a coop and with a bunch of other roosters, and it plays like sexy flamenco music as it makes goo eyes at the roosters, which is like, again, very like cute and fun. And maybe those roosters are a little bit hot. I don't know. Maybe she's me. Maybe I'm her. But like, on the other hand, there are times where it's trying really hard to present the chicken as this kind of like, you know, amoral force of nature that kind of is just like, acts like, I don't know. Again, where it gets really, really bleak is where like it randomly, like by accident, causes human death in its actions, and it's just sort of like incredibly icky, and it's not entirely sure where we're supposed to land on it, as it's the only character that we stick through for the entirety of the film. So yeah, I think that the human story within it that they want to tell about these people smugglers doesn't feel like it's being wielded very responsibly. You know, for a sign of just how weird the tone is, in the film's finale you meet like the lead gangster, who's like this 100-year-old man in a fresh white trench puffer. Remember that AI generated image of the Pope? In the AI.
Yeah, it's like
Yes,
swagged out Pope played by Christopher Lee.
Exactly, yeah. And he just sort of like sits outside the restaurant and like he has this like fried chicken skewer which he like crumbles up and feeds to the hen who's just wandering around. And he sort of says very dramatically, like, just as I thought, they'll turn against each other at a moment's notice. And I out loud said, what? What does that mean? Like, why are you saying that? Is like, yes, chickens don't have the same social taboo of cannibalism that we do, but is this meant to be an allegory? Like, are we the chickens? Do humans turn on each other? Because that's not really something that's being built throughout the film, but we're just being directed to observe it for no real reason. So I think it's like, I don't know, it's a cool made film. I'm impressed with the kind of structure of it, like how they've shot it, but it doesn't really justify its length.
It struggles, Jamie, to justify what I would say, to insert the Jane Lynch meme, is a tonal shift that is so bizarre. Like, there is a moment in this film where it turns from being, let's follow a chicken and let's see what the chicken does, to an extremely harrowing, bleak slice of social. It's not even quite social realism, because I think that it is such an extreme lurch that I was like, come on. This is not the film we were just watching. But what did you think, Jamie? Because I've kind of, what I've done there is I've actually been far too specific in what I've said. I've really not given you much to work with.
I think I know what you're talking about, and that is one of the most horrific things I've seen in cinema. I gotta say, this was presents as like a kids film. Like, am I watching Homeward Bound here? It's like, that's how it feels. It's got this kind of quite jazzy little kind of Eastern European music while the chicken like dodges like predators and stuff, and then it drops in, honestly, one of the most bleak things I've seen in cinema. I like, you know, you're talking about Bleak Week, and then it just carries on. Then it goes on, and like the chicken's having a romance with a cockerel. It's like, what is? Yeah, the tone is awful, and it's like,
don't laugh, Anahit. People have died.
Lots of people died. Yeah, it's horrible. Anyway, I've liked films like this before. Like there was a film called Gunda a couple of years ago about a pig, and there was like Le Quatre Volte, which is like it had a section about following some goats. I really like these
EO's the one about a donkey.
Yeah, there's
very clever name.
It's kind of like basically a subgenre now. This is by far the worst one, because I think they tack on this quite stupid, quite glib, quite offensive crime story that involves people smuggling and sort of refugees who are just all nameless and sort of, they barely get a line, I think, of dialogue, and they're just like props for this stupid plot that I feel like the film never recovered from that thing you're talking about, which we probably shouldn't spoil. I did actually find it quite enjoyable, like you say, like the first kind of 20 minutes where it's basically hen chicken in the city. You know, it's a chicken like running around town, avoiding mishaps, like. But another thing annoying about that
It's
is
like Babe if 9/11 happened halfway through.
exactly. It's exactly like that. But also, what annoys me is that first section. It's used the CGI as well. I was like, why are we watching a CGI chicken? The whole point is it's a real chicken. So why have you CGI'd it crossing the road? I get it, you don't want to kill a chicken, but it takes away the purity of the filmmaking as well. Like to
As
actually
an
use
actor, you
CGI.
should now know they
I know.
need to look after.
Yeah, but we were just
Their
talking about
talent
how
shaming.
in the glory days of Hong Kong cinema, they would have just thrown that chicken in the motorway and had been done with it.
So yeah, I thought this was a bit of a misfire, a bit of a strange movie, and yeah, just like very.
I just don't know
very
what
confusing.
they're trying to say with it at
I
all.
have no
Like
idea.
you're right, like they're throwing around these really gratuitous scenes, and the tone changes so radically, and I just don't know why. Obviously, they wanted like there's an interesting exercise in there of just can you make a film where the main character is an animal that doesn't talk, and it's like I don't know, maybe to hint at a director we'll be talking about later on. They were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think whether or not they should.
That's that award nomination. I think that one of the nicest things that you can say about this film is it's an odd bit of business. It's genuinely quite a strange thing when you really break down what is going on here. I think that like it's technically impressive the stuff that they did with the chicken, but the people smuggling subplot lost me. And that shouldn't be something that shouldn't be a sentence that you can say about a real film that was made with money. So we all thought, yeah, I would say a really odd one. I kind of don't know how to feel about it because the bits of it that I liked and appreciated are very much now coloured by the bits that I thought were, like you say, stupid and borderline offensive, if not quite offensive. And I think there is that thing that you're trying to put the chicken is the cipher that just glides through human morality and amorality as an outside observer, but also affected by the actions of the humans. And you're like, yeah, all right, but you can't do that and also do a harrowing story of the human consequences of like the European border and the and like the like refugee crises in like the Middle East and Africa. You can't do those two things at the same time like this and focus on the chicken. It just is odd.
Yeah, I haven't seen this film, but I have some chicken facts.
Okay.
Should you want? So chickens can fly, it turns out. But they can't like fly. They essentially like boost. Like for a little spurt, they'll just go.
They do
I can do that.
Yeah, exactly. It's actually not that
It's
impressive.
like the Sonic the Hedgehog like get on the ground and like charge up.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
literally that, and then they like jump, but they can. And when I googled this, in the people also ask section, it's can chickens technically fly? How long can a chicken stay in flight? Is a chicken a flightless bird? And how do you say hi in chicken? Which is the most delightful question.
Maybe that says something about the audience that they're aiming for. It's like maybe there's a chance, as there always is in these situations, that we're overthinking it.
Well, to be fair, all of these questions are answered by Chicken Run, a much more
Yes.
superior film about
Chickens.
human impact on animal life.
Yeah.
And to be fair, Chicken Run also played with some sort of like in our times allegory in a much like more sensible way.
Better.
And it had Mel Gibson in it. It still managed that. So. Oh man, Gregory Palfy found in shambles. But how much of a shambles? Jamie, out of 5, what did you think of this?
Oh, I mean, it's probably a 2, but it's also kind of offensive. So maybe 1. Maybe we'll go with 1.
Dramatic.
Cold as ice. Jamie's taking a moral stance against this chicken film. And justifiably so, I would say. Ellie?
Yeah, I'll say. So I'm tempted to go 1, but I'll say 2. I did enjoy the first 20 minutes. It should have just been a short film. From as soon as it got to the coop, I lost interest.
Yeah. I'm going to be slightly controversial and say 3, but only because I think that, like, the bits that are very good are still good. But then it's a 3-star film that I probably wouldn't actually recommend to anyone.
Yeah, it's like a bad film, but we're all disagreeing still about how bad it is.
Yeah, you know what? If you go and see Hen when it comes out this weekend, you will guaranteed have something to talk about when you get out of the cinema, including what is high in chicken. So yeah, Hen is out this Friday in cinemas around the UK. Okay, and from chicken to tuner. Hey, there we go. Right. So a piano tuner with a rare audiological condition discovers a talent for safe cracking, which leads him towards a life of crime with some mobsters as he tries to raise the money to pay for his mentor's hospital bills. This is the first narrative feature from Daniel Rohr, who's the Oscar and BAFTA award-winning documentary filmmaker who made a documentary about Alexei Navalny. It's called Navalny. Leo Woodall is the hunky piano tuner. Dustin Hoffman, Havana Rose Leo are also in it. This film is, I've written down, this film is Baby Driver, but with the driving swapped for playing the piano? Question mark?
I haven't seen Baby Driver.
Okay, Ellie, I'll come to you on the Baby Driver point shortly. Anahit, you were trying to remind yourself in the break of what this film is about and how you feel about it, because you saw it as was it the surprise film at London Film Festival?
Yes, indeed.
What was the experience of that? And can you lift your mic slightly? There we go. That's better.
Yes, so this was the surprise film. So they have like a surprise film every year. This was like a milestone one. Was it like the 20th anniversary or the 30th anniversary of the surprise film or something like that? And so Kirsty, what's her name?
Matheson?
There we go. Like came onto stage, really like the storied history of the LFF surprise film, the things that we have screened, you wouldn't believe. Did a whole 10-minute speech and then was like, and this year, tuna. And the entire Royal Festival Hall was like, what? And I did really enjoy that. I went because there was a rumor that it would be Marty Supreme. So I was like, fuck it, let's see what's going on. And they also got me in for free, so maybe I should actually shut the fuck up. I did actually quite enjoy this film. I think this film suffers from not being the film that it thinks it is.
From not being Marty Supreme
For not being Marty Supreme, A. But also just for like, so I did not know this film existed until it appeared on a big screen in front of me. I'd never heard of it. And then I saw the trailer in the cinema like a week or two ago. And the trailer is just not what the experience of the film is. This is a very like quite cute, fuzzy Sunday afternoon film in my books. Like it's a sweet, nice time. There's like a funny little romance subplot that is like, you know, kind of cute and fine. Dustin Hoffman is in there because apparently he will never retire. Like it's all just kind of quite steady beats. There's like crime that is not really, there are no real stakes. There's no real sense of danger. It's all just like quite cozy. And I think that's a lovely thing. And then I saw the trailer and I was like, oh, they think they're doing something with this. And like they're not, and that's okay. Like that's fine. But I think the film sort of suffers a little bit from that because how it actually plays out is this quite sweet, cozy film about this man who has a rare audiological condition, which isn't real.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. Okay. Where he's basically allergic to noise, like really loud noise or any noise. So he always has to wear like little earphones in. But that also means that he has such like sensitivity to noise that he can do things like tune pianos and even crack safes. And from there, he kind of ends up in a sort of life of crime, except it's not really that, like, everyone's mostly fine the whole time, the whole way through. Leo Woodall, I think, is really good in it. He's the hunky piano tuner. He's really, I just remember he was really hot. Like, that's really mostly what I remember, was that he looked really good. And there's something about a man with a piano that is just, like, a really good...
It was overalls.
Yeah, it was, but it was also just like, you know, that he could do like that bit where she plays a chord and he knows exactly what. Yeah, that really did it for me. That's mostly what I remember about this film. I'll be honest with you. The rest of it was like fine. I would recommend it if you want something very sweet and mindless and very easy to go down that you haven't seen before, but it fills the exact spot in my brain where watching Mean Girls for the 20th time sits.
Excellent.
Was that what you wanted?
That's pretty solid, I think. He also is very mumbly. I don't know if you remember that. Leo Woodall, quite a mumbly man.
Yeah, he is quite, but it's because he's playing someone like, you know, strong and serious.
Yeah.
Who can't hear loud noises.
Who can't hear loud noises.
That's
Yeah,
true.
yeah. And we should also say the whole thing is he can't hear loud. So he's a musical genius, but he can't play music because it would be too noisy for him. And so that is his great, like, tragic flaw thing that he has to...
That's
the great
that's
irony.
His cross to bear.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that chicken who has to absorb atrocities. Like Leo Woodall's got to be hunky, but he can't play the piano good no more. Ellie, I'm going to take a second swing at this Baby Driver point. this film's kind of just Baby Driver, but with all the driving taken out.
You're right, actually. It kind of is. I don't really like doing that with films where it's kind of like, oh, this is just like a rip-off of X. I don't know why. I think it's because people always use it wrong. When people say stuff like, oh, Hunger Games is like ripped off of Battle Royale. And it's like, they're different. But this isn't. It like really isn't. It's so structurally similar to Baby Driver, where you have these kind of like troubled but well-meaning, handsome young men who have like specific conditions that actually give them rare talents so that they get involved in organized crime, but not for selfish reasons, because they want to support their elderly adopted relative. And also there's a little love story in the middle there that weighs on their conscience. And I think that like out of the major differences, like, yeah, you're right, Edgar Wright had this sort of focus on rhythm. Like that's always been his thing as a director. So like Baby Driver is very much about that, and it's in the dialogue, and it's the music is a big part of Baby Driver, like the sort of score. Whereas this seems to be like, I don't know, the sound design is treated a little bit differently. You've got all these like intense close-ups of like parts of pianos, or like when he's safe cracking I don't know what you call it, like tumblers, like the parts of
They're kind of like notches on the
yeah,
safe.
exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like these ultra close-ups of like the intricate mechanics of these machines that he's like listening to. And I don't know, like Anahit, you're completely right. It's like a very cozy, very fun experience. The chemistry between the characters is really good. I really like Leo Woodall in this. I'd only seen him in One Day, and I think that he's way hotter in this, but in One Day he's quite Tory. So it's obviously,
yes.
you know, he's the opposite here. And he has a good sort of chemistry with, is it Havana Rose Liu?
Yeah.
And Dustin Hoffman is his magical grandpa, who is just really lovely. And like his like wife is always getting on at him because his hearing aids are missing, but he's like, oh, you don't need to hear to tune a piano, you just need to feel it. It's so magical. Get that man his hearing aids. But the second, it's like, I think when we were watching it, the second that he goes to this conservatoire or whatever and starts having to tune this piano, and then Havana Rose Liu, who plays this student, is like really mad that she can't practice for her big recital, my partner was like, they're gonna fall in love and her recital will be on the night of the big heist. And 30 minutes later that proved true, because of course it is. It's so sort of structurally familiar. I don't even think that it is Baby Driver adjacent. I think that it is relying a little heavily on cliches of the kind of heist crime genre, but again in a way that doesn't feel like overly grim or like, you know, stressful or tense or anything like that. It's actually really like cute and enjoyable. And I don't know, this is I guess a mixed reaction, because like I at no point felt that the film was dragging or that like I was wondering like, when are we going to wrap this up? But at the same time, most of it I don't really remember.
No. And you watched it this week.
I watched it on like Thursday or Wednesday or whenever we got it in, so it's been a couple days, and I'm like, yeah, I remember like a lot of it, but you know, what else was in there?
I think as well, like the soundtrack's an interesting point, because there's a lot of what I possibly unfairly in the house called supermarket jazz on the soundtrack. A lot of those kind of like tunes that you hear like advertising banks and things like that, when they need to be like, our bank's a little wacky, but we're not going to lose your money. So, so just hit them with one of those ding, 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 and then just be done with it. Jamie, what are your thoughts on Tuna? What did you think?
Yeah, this goes down pretty easily. I totally agree. It's so predictable. Like, you could see the screenwriting kind of cliches from a mile off. Like, you know, like, for example, what are the chances that Leo Woodall's character, Nicky, would discover his amazing talent for safe cracking because Dustin Hoffman leaves his earpieces in the safe, and then the very next day he has to demonstrate it to a guy who turns out to be a criminal, and then he asks him to join his gang, and he says, nah, I don't want to do that. And then the very next day, Nicky needs to go to hospital and he has to pay some bills, so now he has a reason to be a good criminal, because he has like ethical reasons for like stealing the money. It's like so clunky. It's like see a mile off. But
and there's also, just to quickly jump in, there's the thing as well that like it's a screenwriting cliche, because like if a bunch of people who were robbing this house saw you walk in, you're like, I'm the piano tuner, they wouldn't be like, hey, do you want to work with us? They would beat the shit out of you. I'm sorry, what are we doing here? Carry on, Jay.
But in saying that, yeah, I mean, I totally agree. Leo Woodall's incredibly charming. I think his character was a bit boring. Like he's like, I couldn't really tell you what his character was about. Like he's just a guy who
Was being hot.
And can play piano. That's all we know about him.
But do we need anything else?
Maybe not. But I would like a little bit more. Like, you know. But And Dustin Hoffman, you know, is he cancelled now? But I don't really care because he's quite charming on screen. Is he cancelled? I know he was a bit of a. I think it's because he's like one of the method guys. I know Meryl Streep was saying he was a bit of a dick on Kramer versus Kramer, and actually threw a glass at her on purpose to get a reaction out of her.
That's not cool.
And not cool.
Leave her alone.
But he is great in this for the short time he's in it. Yeah, but my eyes were rolling constantly at the kind of unsubtle kind of plot contrivances. It also seems like it should be grittier. You know, it's got the vibe of, I think, like a kind of like 70s film, but it looks so clean. Like it's like set in New York, but New York is so pristine, and it's set in these kind of upper echelon kind of like fancy houses, you know, the type of people who own pianos. But yeah, so it's like a bit sanitized, and then you have this kind of nice romance that is quite hot. They've got chemistry, but it's not sexy. Do they even have sex? I don't know. It's very kind of tame. So it feels like it could have been grittier and sexier, maybe. Would have improved it. Yeah. But it's very well edited. I think it's put together in a really nice way. Like, you see a lot of the similar scenes again and again, and each one's shot in a different way that kind of keeps it all kind of ticking along nicely. I found some of it quite confusing. Like towards the end, I don't want to get into spoil territories, but something happens towards the end. And I actually... What's going on here? Why did this happen? Like, how did that change things? So, like, there's things that are kind of underexplained around his hearing condition. Like, when did he get it? Like, why does it make him not play piano? Because he can tune a piano. So it's not like, I don't know. There's like just things that were underexplained.
I thought it was going to be, because they don't mention it, you're right, but I thought it was going to be that he's really good at piano, but when he develops this condition, he has to stop because he can't hear the applause. Because he's such a good piano player, everyone will want to applaud him.
Oh, is that it?
That's kind of what I assumed. Like, that's the reason he had to give it up.
I don't know. It's just like...
But he says that, like, the reason he can tune a piano is because he did years of exposure therapy. I do remember shit. Oh, my God. He did years of exposure therapy where he had to... So now he can only hear soft sounds. He can't hear hard sounds, like talking or guns. Okay. Which most of us can, I think.
Yeah, to be fair.
Yeah, I can only do soft sounds, not having an air horn blown directly into my ear. No more vuvuzelas for me, I'm afraid. Just to quickly wrap this bit off, that's not an expression, but never mind. London Film Festival surprise films of the last 10 years, just so we can see how much they have been cooking. 2025, Tuner. We'll find out just how good in a minute. 2024, Saturday Night, the film about the first episode of Saturday Night Live. 2023, Ferrari, Michael Mann. 2022, The Menu.
Oh my God,
that was so bad.
These are all stinkers.
The
by
menu's honking.
So bad.
Honking. 2021, Come On.
That was magical.
That's nice.
That's why I keep going back to the surprise film, and it has never lived up.
2019, Uncle James.
Oh God.
2018, Green Book. 2017, Lady Bird.
That would have been sick. Imagine that.
And 2016, Clint Eastwood's Sully Sullenberger film with Tom Hanks in it.
Well,
so you wouldn't call it an unblemished record of success, would you?
No, you'd call it a spectrum.
You'd say 3 out of 10.
Yeah. But what I found the most alarming was before this, in like 2000 and whenever it came out, the surprise film was that horror Arachnophobia or whatever the fuck it was.
Oh wow, that'd be great.
Can you imagine? I would have killed myself. I would have thrown myself off the gallery of the Royal Festival Hall. Like, I would have left.
Someone's got good seats.
well,
no, that's not good. The stores are good.
Glasgow Film Festival's surprise film has not been going on quite as long, but do you know what their first surprise film was? Inland Empire.
Oh,
fuck yeah.
Can you imagine that?
That is a surprise.
Like, imagine.
Consider yourself.
And it's like a long
surprised.
film as well. Like, my God.
Oh yeah, Inland Empire is like 3 hours long. It's just like Laura Dern in extreme DV
weirdly,
close-up.
I've never thought about it, but maybe the best way to watch Inland Empire is with absolutely no warning, no awareness of what you're in for, never heard of it before.
Is to take all the labels off your DVDs and Blu-rays and just pick at random. But you know what? There's an idea for the Cineskinny Film Club. We bring it back. We just play Inland Empire to an unsuspecting room of people.
The one thing I like about the Glasgow Film Festival one as well is they don't actually say the name of the film. So they just play the film. So you don't find out sometimes to the very end, unless you've like obviously read about it or like you know some stars in it. But so I've seen some of them and I haven't known the name of the film until the very end credits.
that's so funny. But do you know what it is? Like, are you aware?
There was one I didn't know. Was it Rain Dogs or War Dogs from a few years ago.
Oh, yeah.
I hadn't heard of it, and I didn't really know until the end credits what it was called.
Oh, that's quite nice.
Well, we all know what Tuner is called, but how good do we think it is? Anahit, sorry. Out of 5.
3 stars.
3 out of 5. Ellie?
Yeah, this is what the 3-star rating was made for.
Wonderful. Jamie?
Yeah, it's probably the most 3-star film I've seen in a
This
long time.
is the 3th of 3 stars. My stream, we ran out of time to watch it, and it cut out 5 minutes from the end. I feel like I didn't miss much.
You can probably guess what happens at the end.
I saw him look in the mirror, and then from that point, I was like, well, I mean, it's not going to be that like his whole head's been cut off. You know what? I'll leave the rest of that for the audience when they go to watch Tuner from the 22nd of May. Okay, and for the final bit of this week's episode, we're going to talk about Steven Spielberg. He's got a new one out called Disclosure Day, which seems to be about aliens and things of this nature. I've not seen it. I've seen a trailer. It was quite confusing. There was some stuff with a TV. Emily Blunt is in it, I believe. Is that right? Yeah. We don't know what it's about, but it's an excuse to talk about Steven Spielberg. Now, Jamie, I have a provocative statement, as promised in the group chat. Provocative statement for you. What question? More of a question. Is Steven Spielberg the greatest ever filmmaker?
No.
Is Steven... Wait, I've got a backup. Is Steven Spielberg the greatest American filmmaker?
No.
Is Steven Spielberg the greatest mainstream American filmmaker?
Probably.
I've got him. and rule of 3, I had that all planned. I knew he wasn't going to say yes to the first one. I knew he probably wasn't going to say yes to the second one. I set it up perfectly. Right, before we start, who's the greatest ever filmmaker?
I mean, ever?
Yes.
I don't know.
Okay.
Hitchcock?
Right.
I don't know.
Who's the greatest American filmmaker?
Well, Hitchcock made a lot of films in America, but he's not American. Scorsese?
Okay. And then the greatest mainstream American filmmaker, as just simply stated by Jamie Dunn, is Steven Spielberg. He has I would say, one of the most impressive careers and the impressive run of films. The reason I was asked you that quite provocative question is because I think when I look through the list of films that he has made, his range and the quality of his films in that period from like the 70s to the 2000s is genuinely, you're surprised. You think that these are just films by America, not that they're all by one director.
That was beautiful.
Thank you. Sometimes I've got it. Yeah, he's done serious drama, big blockbusters, sequels that don't suck shit, kids' films that everyone actually likes, Jurassic Park, and various other things of this nature. But Jamie, when we're talking about Steven Spielberg, what's the first thing you go to? What's your first thought when I say to you, Steven Spielberg?
The first
Elaborate.
film is probably that I think of when I think of Spielberg. I probably think of E.T. Probably because that's his symbol. You know, when it's Amblin film, he still has the kids on the bikes. You know, that's probably maybe one of the first Spielberg films I saw, and it's probably still one of my favourites. So that would be my first one.
Ellie, when I say to you Steven Spielberg, what are you thinking of?
I think of E.T., I think of Jaws a lot, the Indiana Jones films. My personal favourite that I actually think is like him at like just hitting on all cylinders is maybe Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Like that's very like touching and human, but also very spacey, special effectsy. Yeah.
Nice. And Anahit.
Indiana Jones is like my Steven Spielberg staple. I like when he then veers into slightly more serious, like when he does Schindler's List, and he's like, I'm never making a comic film about Nazis again. And then he makes some other nonsense. I like that journey.
Yeah, it makes Tintin.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay, babe.
I think it's quite interesting that when you go around and you're like, oh, well, I like that he made E.T. And then you're like, I like that the same person made Close Encounters and also Jaws and Indiana Jones and Schindler's List. It's a wild bit of business. I've got a question for the group. Which of these is the most impressive? You've got option A, is that in the space of 10 years, Steven Spielberg made Jaws, Close Encounters, Raiders of the Lost Ark, E.T., Temple of Doom, and The Color Purple. Option B is that he released Schindler's List and Jurassic Park in the same year. And option C is that he put out AI, Minority Report, and Catch Me If You Can within the space of 18 months, having previously made all the films discussed.
Wow.
I would say the first is the best because, like, I agree that Close Encounters is amazing. Jaws, Raiders, Temple of Doom. I would also throw in Duel, which is his first film, like the one where it's basically just like a truck is chasing a guy down.
It's car v truck.
Yeah, it's amazing. Sugarland Express is also very good. So like, yeah, that run early on was incredible, and like, he was just like firing in all cylinders. Like,
How does he do it? You're a film man.
how does he do it?
You've worked in front of the camera.
Well, the thing is, it's
Like,
not.
what is it that makes it like? How can one person make all these great films?
Well, the thing is, I would say one thing about Spielberg, he's not actually a perfect filmmaker. He makes so many films, you forget of all the stinkers he's made. Like he made Hook, he made 1941.
I like Hook.
I like Hook.
Do you think it's a great film? You think
Spielberg hated Hook. He said it was the worst thing he ever did.
That's crazy.
Hook is so soppy, so
No, it's silly, yeah,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't say it's like a terrible film.
I wouldn't say it's more soppy than other like 90s family adventure films. It's not like more soppy than like Home Alone.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
would say
but-
Hook is better than Warhorse.
Yes, but that's also bad.
No, I know.
And he also made that film. So
No, I know,
It's
that's
so
what I'm
impressive.
saying.
He made so many bad films.
Yeah,
but
even
he
the-
made so many good films. That no one
Even The
cares
Color
about.
Purple was like him trying to be like, it's Oscar baity. You know, it's like a good film, but it's not like a great film. You know, like so I don't think he was like. He's made like maybe 10 great films, which is like enough for any filmmaker. Like, but he's also made a lot of films that probably are forgettable.
To answer your question, Peter, I agree with Jamie that it's the first one that's the most impressive because whilst it is super impressive that he made, what was it? He made Schindler's List and Jurassic Park.
Schindler's List and Jurassic Park came out in the same year.
Like that's crazy impressive, crazy range. But by that point, he was already Steven Spielberg. The impressive fact is that the first 10 years of his career, he went from like making this doofy TV movie where a truck chases a car, which is also like amazing. Like that's just his camera work that's like making it interesting, but it's very watchable. And then like a couple years later, he kind of like built up the momentum to do, I'm looking at it now, yeah, Sugarland Express, Jaws, Close Encounters, Raiders of the Lost Ark, E.T. Like it just kind of, that build I don't associate with any other director.
He was also a producer, so he was also producing things like, well, he produced all, like the Back to the Future films, for example, Gremlins, Poltergeist. Like I like he was so synonymous with that kind of suburban 80s kind of like horror and kind of action film, you know, like the Goonies. I think he also produced like
Exactly,
so
produced the Goonies,
so
yeah.
many films that he had his hand in that kind of period.
See, when I genuinely think when you think of like mainstream, like blockbuster, the kind of films that when they're on the TV, the kind of films that play in your mind when you think what's a film that would be on TV, they're all Steven Spielberg films, generally speaking. Or they're like somehow affiliated with Senior Spielberg or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you asked people in the street, like who, like name a film director, I think pretty much everyone could name Steven Spielberg. He's like one of the few named directors that literally everyone knows. You've all seen his films, and I feel like he gets a bad rep because he like created the blockbuster. You know, like people think like the summer blockbuster ruined cinema, and like in the 80s you got these kind of quite cheesy films that sort of like degraded cinema, and people think, oh, the 70s is when it was at its peak, and sort of George Lucas and Spielberg come along and destroyed that. So I think he does have his haters, but his films were so cinematic, so as cinematic as any of his peers. But I think people think of like Coppola and sort of Scorsese and Kubrick as kind of like a kind of higher echelon, just because they were kind of serious filmmakers. Whereas, like you say, he was making popcorn films or films for kids, or you know, like films that were just purely entertaining. But he was so good at it. He was so good at manipulating the audience and sort of making you feel all the feels, just like using the camera. And he was so good with actors as well. Like you think of all the performances in like E.T., like those kids are incredible. They're the best kids performances you've ever seen. So he was a great director. Wait, still is a great director.
But isn't it cheating, Anahit, to just make films that people want to see and that are good?
No.
Okay.
I'm going to say no. I think that's a really interesting point, because making films that are crowd pleasers is actually not easy. And we can see this through the legacy of the Indiana Jones like franchise, which has become bad, like genuinely quite fucking terrible. And so that run of, I mean, the first Temple of Doom, I don't think is as good as the other two,
No.
but it's not like awful. It's just racist.
It's like my biggest resentment in cinema. Sorry, I'll sidebar.
No.
My biggest resentment in cinema is that like the first half of Temple of Doom is the most like lowbrow, juvenile, mean-spirited, misogynistic, bigoted film ever, and then that last set piece is just like so entertaining and so delightful, and I'm mad about it.
Yeah. It could have, just with a bit of tightening up, they could have made it into a good. But it's not like Dial of Destiny levels of like awful filmmaking, awful storyline. It's just a bit like fucking stupid. And so being able to make films like E.T. or the Indiana Jones films that are crowd pleasers and they are popcorn films, but they're so well made, that is a skill that we have by and large, I think, lost. If you think of the equivalent of what people watch these days that hits that kind of, that niche, it's a lot more like very CGI heavy, the Marvel stuff, very film by committee. And he just wasn't like that.
And all these
isn't like that.
Yeah.
Why do we think he's dead?
I don't know. Like, he's not dead.
Yeah. He's got a new film out like this month. I think also one of the other things about like Steven Spielberg that you have to remember, like when you just said that like these days those would all be like kind of Marvel films, or they would be some kind of existing thing. Like Jaws wasn't a thing in cinemas until he did it. E.T. wasn't a thing until he did it. The Indiana Jones films, he originated the Indiana Jones films. Jurassic Park, okay, it was an extremely successful book, but then he turned it into like a series of films. The new ones are fucking rubbish. The new ones have been Chris Pratt, and I will not stand for it. I'm sorry. I want to see Sam Neill and like Jeff Goldblum with no shirt on. Don't really want to see Lost World again. It's not very good. But
do you think
NVM.
that like Steven Spielberg is slightly responsible for like, I don't know, mindless sort of, like you say, popcorn films that like are kind of more slocky these days, but rely way too heavily on spectacle and special effects?
He's only responsible in the sense that what's his name, Kenny McLean, the Scotland player who scored from the halfway line in that game against Denmark, is responsible for everyone at five-a-side trying to score from their own like half of the pitch. Like, just because he did something well once doesn't mean it's everyone else's excuse to do a shit job of it.
Well, that's a beautiful and relatable analogy.
Well, to be honest, I got it. I don't know anything about sports, so that is well put.
But I think sometimes people look at Spielberg films and think, okay, I'll copy the special effects, I'll copy the, I'll make the dinosaurs really scary, I'll copy the set pieces. But you forget that what makes those films so great is the actual characters are great. Like, I love Sam Neill in that film. I think he's like, he feels like the most warmest, kindest, like his evolution from hating the kids to like loving them is amazing. And that's what people forget. He's like so good at like, that kind of human connection. Like Close Encounters, again, it's like people remember the special effects, but actually there's not that much. It's mostly about a guy going crazy and sort of getting obsessed with like these aliens that he saw one day. Like in Jaws, like so much of Jaws, there's no special effects because the bloody shark didn't work. So he has like all these great scenes of just like three guys in a boat arguing and sort of comparing scars. So like that's why his films are great. It's the kind of human moments that sort of make them stand out, and people kind of like who copy him kind of forget that. Like all his imitators sort of miss what's great about him.
Yeah, they're not getting the juice out of the Dickie Attenboroughs of the world to kind of come stumbling, shambling, much like me.
Thank God you got that pop mic on.
Yeah. I was just trying to say Dickie Attenborough with his little cane saying Jurassic Park, but as we can see, it's not been worth it. I also just want to give one last shout out to Minority Report and Catch Me If You Can, which are both very, very good films.
Love Catch Me If You Can.
And the thing about that's so impressive is that he did all that after making all those other films. He had it until about the mid 2000s, and I think that the War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise was a bit of that's when things started to go downhill with Spielberg. In my opinion.
But West Side Story, I loved his remake of West Side Story. I thought that was gorgeous, and people did like The Fabelmans. I thought it was stupid.
Yeah, I like some of his later stuff. Like The Post is really good. Bridge of Spies is good. Like I think he has got some good later stuff. But here's a question: what do you think is his most popular film on Letterboxd?
Oh God!
I would say E.T.
I would say I would make it maybe a little bit more of a deep cut because I feel like Letterboxd reviewers are nerds. So I would say like Minority Report.
Like Amistad or something like that.
It's
the BFG.
It's actually Catch Me If You Can, which surprised me. Like that's his most popular film or most watched film.
most watched film. Okay.
Or
Yeah.
most logged, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no. ITV4's got a lot to answer for. If Catch Me If You Can is the most watched Steven Spielberg film.
Surprise me.
Oh, so yeah, so Steven Spielberg. So Disclosure Day is out. It's next month, isn't it? Is it June or May?
Yes, it's out next month.
It is out on the 12th of June. And they're playing some Spielberg classics as part of the G.O.A.T 50th, aren't they? 50th
Yes.
birthday.
I think this weekend they're doing a double bill of AI and Close Encounters, which is a pretty good double bill, I think.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't even gotten into the taking over Stanley Kubrick and doing a good job of it bit. We can you can listen actually to the previous episode where we talked a little bit about AI.
Yeah, because I rewatched AI.
There we go.
Yeah.
See, it all connects together.
Mm-hmm.
Her web connects us all.
It's even.
We don't have time to talk about Madam Web if we're going to talk about really bad films. Right, okay, I think that's probably us. That we're coming up on an hour. Lovely stuff. So thank you, Jamie.
Cheers, Peter.
Thanks, Ellie.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anahit.
Thank you.
This has been the Cineskinny. Tell people that this podcast is good. The award that we were nominated for, by the way, is a Scottish Podcast Award. Ellie pointed out earlier correctly that I didn't say which award it was. We've been nominated for an award, and as you'll have heard from the preceding hour, absolutely justified. Totally justified. Right, we'll be back in 2 weeks. Goodbye.
Bye.